Morning everybody, how you all doing? Hopefully avoiding this chop this morning. Hope you all had a good day yesterday, hope you all rested. Go through your tick list this morning, make sure you've eaten enough, had your coffee, had some water, got enough sleep, feeling calm, all those things that can set you up to trade today. Let's go through the charts then. NQ on the daily, still holding its range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11th day inside this dreaded range. We have this uptrend here with resting liquidity on the NQ and this key area. Key area I was looking at this morning, unfortunately we've already gone and swept it, was this afternoon pullback low. All right, this is where we found demand yesterday for the drive up. It's the area I told you to look at yesterday when I left you guys and moved on for the session. Right here, it was a break and retest area. So yesterday during the stream we were up here and I said to you I was bullish all the time. We hold this pivot where we knew buyers came in. All right, this is where sellers were. We broke out, we retested, we held, we flagged back down to that area, and then we put in this squeeze. All we've done now is come back to the same area, but we are starting to find some sellers around this area. We have news in 3 minutes time. Okay, red folder news, so it might move the market. If we go into a sell in here, you have to be aware that then basically what we're looking at is, do all the buyers that were in here become pop sellers? If they come pop sellers, we're looking to complete the rotation of the cup basically back down to yesterday's level, right down here to 60s. Right, if we start failing 360s, we have like a shelf here, 360, 340, 325, and that opens the gate for a bigger move down into the 200s. Right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I want to see how we act in this area. Moving into lower time frame, same thing. So right now we are building liquidity, what I always talk about. We're chopping in this range. We've got like a 50-point range since the open currently. We've swept the afternoon pullback low, which was basically here, and now we're chopping. So the question is, do we find sellers up here for the bigger move down, or are we starting to grind back up? Remember, the overnight move was bearish. London swept Asia. So we've left this London high up here, and we have gap fill potential into that 4 o'clock close, which was basically London high. Okay, so that's effectively where the cash gap is. So if we're going to start reclaiming, all right, we have to be cautious. If we're going to start doing this over this, we're likely to come and fill this gap. Otherwise, I'm thinking about potential bearish moves to downside. But I'm 50-50 right now, just based on where we are inside the range, inside the daily range, inside the weekly range, inside an hourly range, inside previous days range. It's like Groundhog Day, isn't it? It's the same thing over and over and over. So we're going to let this news come in about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and then let's see what we have. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, late to say good morning on it. Good morning, Jeff, Mindful Matters, Array, Asa, Ramus, Chris, Bart. Yes, let's have a good day's trading. Let's be patient. All right, so far price is just trapping everybody inside this opening range. I did take a couple scalps off that morning push to the short side, locking in a little bit of money, but not much else here to do right now. I'm just going to let it trap, try and develop some form of trend, and then we can try and execute. Good morning, Marek. All right, so here's the news. See if it's lackluster or if we get an actual print here. Watching the VIX as well, 1875 key level upside for the VIX. If it breaks out of that, we're going to get downside pressure on the market. Remember, today into close, you have Tesla earnings after the bell, so expect some volatility into close, especially on the Qs where it's weighted a little bit heavier. Mag 7 today, all red other than Microsoft currently. So home sales, small miss there, not much. Forecast was 0.52%. Oh, a bigger miss than I thought, actually. 0.52% came in, minus 1%. So home sales down. See if they use this now to run lower. Bias for the day was actually lower, but it's just very tricky when we're just going to sit inside this range non-stop. Would like to see us move down and sweep some of those daily and hourly levels. Ideally, clean up some of these levels. Some of this trend line liquidity on the higher time frame would be amazing. But the short was much better higher up where London had it. ES approaching lower day, NQ approaching lower day. There's the snap down. I want to see if we stay heavy here, or if we're just going to start retracing back up. Is that a wash to pump higher? Don't want to get trapped mid-range right here. Let's open this up a bit so you can see. I'm on a 2-minute chart currently on stream. Just want to let this develop a bit before I go down to a lower time frame because it's very choppy. So if you're wondering why it looks different, that's why. So far a sweep of the current New York low. No retracement up to get a short into. Previous day low is low hanging fruit right now, right here. 20-day would be your mean reversion. And of course, those hourly levels that we talked about at the beginning of the stream. Just ping-ponging around this morning so far. Would like to see VIX break out of 1875. I do like lower prices here if I can find a way to get involved. I don't really want to short a lower day. Shorts up here somewhere if possible. I don't want it to come too far into the range, but it's tricky watching ES and the VIX. Qs look like they want to go to previous day low, this green level. Right, it was low hanging fruit to that move. We are coming into old demand now, right, on H1 into this old trend line that I had in. I'm not looking for this trend line to be support. I'm looking for it to use it as a way of trapping bulls to then go lower. So I'd really like to see us take out 65, might as well call it 40, and then the low 300s into 200s. But I need some type of entry model here, whether it be like flow zones or a nice imbalance to be repriced and then see buyers get trapped. Not really giving me much right now. Now psychological snap of 400 coming straight down to that previous day low. All right, so that bear flag into the news was it. Unfortunately, we've had to enter before news, goes against my rules. Good morning, wisdom lover. So previous day low coming up here. So bias was right, just not giving a good entry to get involved. I'm going to move this to a 1 minute now that we've clearly developed. All right, so bias was right here, effectively a bear flag, looking for that breakdown. It was right on the news, and it never came up and repriced this to give an entry, which is fine. So we're a bit extended from the flow zones now, so I'm not looking too short here when we're 60 points away from them. If we can develop some more structure, I'll be interested. Definitely looks like low hanging fruit into that previous day low, doesn't it? Looks like low hanging fruit into that area. So if you're in this short, congratulations. Thinking about your cover spots there, I would take a partial into previous day low and then be looking to see if you can hold for a further breakdown into the H1 levels that we talked about, the old wicks. Left you on the wrong chart, haven't I? Sorry about that. So can we get some form of continuation pattern, some form of bear flag here to start building out, rather than just a 1 minute, please? Let's have something to build out so we can risk off. There's a snap. Looks like those buyers from yesterday's afternoon are well and truly trapped, because we are not getting any relief on this to risk against for a short right now. There goes previous day low. So low hanging fruit now gone. Now you need to be looking at those lower levels on the H1. So your next target really can be down towards 320, I would say. So 330, 340, then 320 is where this will want to go if it's going to start stealing all that liquidity. Want to find a way to get involved in this. VIX just broke straight out of 75, running up to 86 already. All right, so everything we talked about there, the VIX starting to play ball here. Now, this level here of the VIX is key, sort of into 1890. Through that opens the gate into yesterday's initial balance range, and then we can really get heavy on the market. That would tell me that buyers are very, very stuck. I would really like to build out some form of structure here than this straight sell, but these sells were good up here. Just a shame we had that 10 o'clock news, otherwise I would have taken it. But I never put a position on into a news candle. So both markets have taken previous day low. See if they trade back inside the range now, or if we're just going to have continuation lower. Not looking to fade this early because I know we've just taken daily liquidity. Okay, so if it wants to reverse here and puts in a big engulfer and bullish pattern and starts to reclaim areas, I'm going to think about that counter trend trade back up now, because we've swept a key level. If we're just going to retrace up in one go and it's going to offer a short, then that's great. But if it's going to put in bullish structure, I'm going to respect it. VIX so far just rejecting that level. Can we build a bear flag out here, or are we going to hold this imbalance that is just built in this engulfer? All right, so maybe a two leg. Maybe come and retest some of this area back up here. We can think about what might be next. Cannot be early to these shorts now, right? If you're thinking about a short now, just be aware we've just taken this liquidity, right? Daily liquidity got swept. So really you need to see more bulls get trapped, something like this, all right? Where you know that they're trapped in, and it might have to do it up here. It might be a better move for it. We've also taken or tapped into Monday's low, so weekly low here All right, weekly low here. So if we're going to expand lower today, it's going to be expanding the weekly chart. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, everyone in chat. Do me a favor, drop me a like. Doesn't cost you anything, helps the channel grow, does me a massive favor. So if you just smash that like button for me, hit subscribe if you're new here. So here's that return back inside the range. Food was great. Race was great. Thanks, Aaron. Really good. Had a great time. Great time. Watching to see its move into 400 and just above 400 here to see if sellers come back in on the tape there. There are sellers considerably higher, 425, 430, 435, 440, 445. 100 lots on each of those, right? They're stacked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them stacked up in 100 lots from 425 to 445. Right, that would mean a move back inside that old M5 range that we talked about, which was the old, let's call it dip low yesterday, where we found buyers. That old breakout, retest that we talked about yesterday, where we found buyers before that squeeze up, that's where they are. So they're looking to sell into that right now. That might be buyers that are stuck looking to sell positions. It might be buyers who have entered the tape. It might be shorts looking to join in this. We don't know what they are, but we know where they are right now looking at the book map. What we want to be careful about here is if it starts to do a V bottom. I would love to get involved in this short. I've got small short on here into flow zones, and I mean small, like hardly anything. It's a feeler, and that's it. And if it starts to firm up, that's fine. If it starts to squeeze out, I'll take it off. Don't want to be playing the 2 leg and be early in the first leg. Right, taking that off there, just in the money, like a tick or two in the money. Happy always with these trades. I'm happy to get a feeler on, feel it out. If it starts moving my direction, I can always add into my winner. What I don't want to do is put something on oversized in that first leg up, because if this V shapes and it wants to come and search that 25 to 45, they have to be careful. So back into where I was originally entering here, into that 400 test. Psychological level. There are sellers present here for sure. There are sellers present here. Just depends how high they want to retrace this. Could be a fib, could be to test the old breakout range. But if enough shorts got trapped at previous day low, got to think about breakout buyers, breakout shorts, never learn, they got short here. So they're now participating in this, getting squeezed out. Right, so we've got to think, where do shorts come in? Do we get intraday sellers come back into the market in the areas we're talking about? If we start reclaiming 450s and so on, then I'm going to switch my bias to probably bullish on the day. So there's that 400 level. Coming into 50% of the day's move so far in the New York session, that is, not including overnight. So far they're holding at 400 down, at psychological level, being held down so far. VIX retesting that key level. It's at 76 right now. If it breaks out of that, creates a new high day, we get a flush moment here on the market. If it can't do it, you have to be very, very cautious here. This is key level in and around these areas. So far, flow zone's holding it down very, very nicely. Those sellers are still up there. It makes me worried seeing them just dangling up there between 25 and 45 with so much size as well. We're talking about 500 contracts on the queue spread out. I do not like seeing that as a draw of liquidity higher. It is a concern. The market will probably want to seek them. If they then pull it, it's very dirty. Back in this very small short here on that last rejection. Again, I'm willing to take this off straight away if it starts to firm up. Feels like something's got to give here. Hopefully it's to the downside, eh? Watching ES. ES is approaching its previous day low again. VIX still pinned towards the highs, 77 now, but NQ's not following. Meta still green on the day. Sorry, Microsoft. Firming up a little bit here. A little bit concerned here. If you don't get a flush, I'm going to take this off. ES weak. Reapproaching previous day low. If we get that move for the Qs, that'd be a 30-point flush move down. ES through now approaching its low on day. Come on, Qs, get going. Relative strength in the Qs here. Okay, starting to move now. So I'm moving my stop down a little bit in the money now. See if we can get this move down towards the low of day. Qs very, very strong here, holding and soaking. Any move above 90s, I'm not interested. I'll take this back off in the money. Again, very small size here because it is tricky. This play right here for continuation after we've taken previous day low is tricky. That's a better move here in the Qs now. So hopefully some of you are getting this with me. So up about 15, 20 points here. See for the reaction here into previous day low. All right, see if they come back in and try and soak the tape. Want to see it stay heavy. It needs to stay heavy. Q's relative strength. ES found a bid there as well. That is nasty, nasty action. VIX at high of day and then reversed. Tagged high of day and then reversed. Those sellers are still on the tape further up. Can you believe it? that off. Wow. What a market. So we've got SMT now. Shane, my entry was basically where we are now, so I just took it off back towards 400. SMT now, where ES made a new low, Qs did not make a new low. Still can be a bear flag playing out here. Again, I'm going to repeat, on the book map, I do not like seeing these sellers up between 25 and 45 stacking it. It will be a draw on liquidity. The algo will be seeing them and wanting to go and tag them in. I don't like seeing that. It makes me very, very uncomfortable. Lack of follow through here on the market in general. Basically flat on the day here now, unfortunately. It's up a very small green. Maybe should have taken that into previous day low, should have covered it maybe, who knows. Problem is where we are playing in the market right now, right? We are looking for a snap down, and we've taken out obvious liquidity. We've taken out that obvious previous day low. It starts to get really, really tricky here when it wants to think about snapping down into these lower levels. So it's going to have to trap and trap and trap intraday until it gets the move. The opposite of yesterday. Yesterday it had to trap and trap and trap to go and search the liquidity higher. Today feels like it needs to trap over and over again to go and search for that liquidity lower. And again, we've done the obvious move where we've taken out previous day low already. And London had the best entry. So it gets really tricky when it does this. We've got 7 minutes until the initial balance, and then I'm going to have to respect the initial balance as well. So if we leave that low as it is, and we want to trade upside, the VWAP is going to be near the IB high. I'm going to have to be very cautious about that kind of play. Again, these plays are very hard, and you can know that this action is going to be tough by zooming out and looking at the daily. The daily couldn't be more clear. 12 days inside this range now. Stuck between the 20-day, 5-day, and high Bollinger Band, the +2 standard deviation from the 20-day. So just trading inside chop, basically. They are walking those cells down now, though. They're now stacked 25, 30, and 35. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 500 lots placed in that region. That's a decent amount of size on the NQ. That last 5-minute bar was tough, man, repricing that whole thing. See how this one acts. We are holding this imbalance right here. All right, those who trade SMC, this BPR right here on a 1 minute, which is concerning. I would like to see this fail. On ES, we don't have one that's failed. But if they're going to hold this, it's going to be problematic. But really, I'm still thinking about that cup and handle kind of play, and this potentially being the handle. Yeah, they're still holding that. BPR down there, still holding it. What a market. VIX having a flush back down inside now. Maybe we come and hunt those highs at 405. Got to be careful if they turn this into a buying setup here. So those sellers are still sat there. Basically in that old range where we broke down from. All right, basically up here, they're still sat there in that range, 500 lots. So this is basically another failed breakdown, which has been the setup that's been paying most of the time. I just felt today we'd go and sweep more liquidity, but I guess we took out Monday, but we failed to expand the weekly range here. So there you go, it's searching that liquidity that we talked about. So those sellers being on the tape is literally just drawn the market up towards them. Let's see if they're real. See if they get filled up here. They're still there. There's 500, all right? There's 500 lots, Matt, stacked in 100 lot bit on the ask between 25 and 35, really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And it's just walking through them like they're not there. It's trading right up and into them. So maybe VWAP also a target. Remember, the initial balance is now set. And we're trading basically towards VWAP in the IB high very quickly off that low. Once it put in this candle here, we shifted. It's now in a short-term buy signal. Do they come and slam this? This is the question, isn't it? They are there, they're getting filled, that's for sure. Not all of them have been filled yet, though. No worries, Matt. So buyer on the tape at 10 here. Biggest buyer on the tape is all the way down at 345. Right, it's basically low of day. Those sellers are still there. So 200 of them got filled. Amazing how they have just dragged this market up there. Right back into range now, which is going to make this a really horrible trading session, to be honest. VIX trading right down towards its low of day. So we've taken those sellers out now. No big sellers left. We've taken them all out on that drive up, which is what we talked about. They walked down. Let's see if they refresh here. Insane. VWAP very, very close now as well, right? VWAP here, and then the IB high. And then we're just going to be in a mid-range day unless we break out above, which will be that red line. For those in the Discord, if we do that red line move, this would be it. The failed breakdown, reclaim, and then go. Watching ES fix, new lower day. Wow, wow, wow. What a market, eh? No follow through back inside the range. So we're going to spend another day inside of the range we've created. Didn't even really get a good sweep on the NQ of the low side of the range, that is. No expansion on the weekly, which would have been really nice. Got a weekly expansion. Yeah, Tyson, that S&T was crazy, wasn't it? It left that tiny imbalance like a BPR at the bottom on a 1 minute S&T and then just went all the way back into the top of the range where we broke down from, where those sellers were. So if you had bookmap, it made it a little bit easier to see where those sellers were. Feels like shorts are really, really stuck in this now. I'm trying to think if there's a way of me to enter it, but it's hard until we get above the key levels. Really want it to come back and test all the way down to 400 and see if buyers participate there. Otherwise, could just be a big squeeze up, you know? watching this reaction here. We're into M1 support where the flow zones are. Want to see if buyers participate here on the book. Sorry if I go quiet. I'm just watching to see if and when they come in. And maybe they don't. This could just be a giant squeeze and they roll it back over. I really don't trust this market right now. Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough when we're inside ranges, like we talked about the last 10 days. It's really tough. I love trading trend, and we just don't have any trend developing. We had the potential for a trend move today, and it failed. If we do a straight up, straight down here, it will be funny, wouldn't it? Remember, have gap fill potential above today as well. If it really wants to get going into the London high, that would be gap fill potential. Have to be aware of it. I would say it seems unlikely, but in this market, you just never know. Yes, trying to approach its VWAP, NQ trying to do the same. Seller at 450 now on the book, 100 lot. So we're just stuck in that range, right? The M5 range, the pullback low range from yesterday, reclaiming that trend in short-term bullish price action now. All right, shorts definitely stuck low of day. We just have to see if they reject this range or reclaim above this range. If they reclaim above it and put in bullish patterns, I'll think about longs. I will not think about longs until then, unless we do a deep pullback and we start to hold and find bids. But I don't want to start entering longs here because I think risk potential is that they reject this range, that some supply comes back in. We are building bullish price action here. Okay, so targets will be up here for short term. But again, the risk potential is that it comes right back down to here. If this was a quick squeeze up, it can be a quick move back down if they find sellers on the tape. Till after the first. We'll figure something out, Tyson, if I change it. We'll figure something out and honour it. That flag so far looking like it was trying to play out. So far rejecting VWAP. Yes, not at its VWAP yet. So you have to be careful here now. This is the potential for a move back into here, okay? This is the potential for that gap fill type of move. Clean that up, sorry. All right, so can they use this liquidity we built this morning for a move higher, or do they continue to sell against this liquidity? All right, so the question is, this breakdown, is this a retest to come back down and test this low, or have they trapped enough where they can just straight squeeze it up? Those are the two options right now. I'm not going to participate in this long until it makes a next leg up. I would rather be late and know that the market is doing what I want. Oh my God, my keyboard is having a nightmare. Yeah, maybe Alonso, maybe we get that move. Interview up here. Oh. There you go, squeeze through VWAP now. So maybe that flag's playing out. I want to see how we act at these highs, right? At these highs right here. This for me is the range. So we broke down from and we're now back inside. If we can get above this, I can think about the move back upside probably. Lonzo, they didn't give up at the low. It's quite the opposite. They didn't give up at the low. They got trapped at the low. Too many of them came in at the low. Look at this volume here. Change your thinking. Too many of them came in at the low where the sell point was up here. So they got stuck at the low, all right? And then they got forced to cover, which caused this. Yeah, exactly. They got squeezed. That's exactly what it is. Squeeze off the lows. I've got a funny feeling this market's going to bid all the way up and close that gap, you know. I feel like enough have got caught. What's surprising to me is that it's done this same move so many days in a row without sweeping anything on NQ. That's what I find surprising. I felt like NQ would at least come down to like 300 or 270s and then do this move. It's barely trapped at all underneath that low, like swept by what, 65s, expanded the range, didn't expand the range, left a double bottom on the weekly range now. Really odd. Really, really odd. You'd expect that to sweep the weekly range lower and then do this move back upside, but hey, it will do what it wants. We just got to respect it. So yes, pop through VWAP, back at VWAP. Every single pop is being, every single drop is now being soaked. Buyers in full control now. In full control. It wants that gap fill. Wild, 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 wild. So gap fill would take us up to, close the day actually at 542. That's where the gap fill would be. So another 100 points. So maybe some form of trap into here before doing it. Underneath 20s maybe or something. So we're just stuck at VWAP here on the Qs. ES poked through it and failed. Did ES sweep that high? No, it didn't. $63, an interesting level for QQQ, I'd say. Into the top of that IB. So here would be your shift, but it would also be a nice trap. All right, if bulls are going to take control, that would be a nice trap. I wouldn't want to see them let go of 400 really. This is one move up. This could be short-term liquidity. Seek some of it here and then return back upside. What's up, South Cat Dad? How's it going? So again, why I said you had to be careful here and wait for it to base above, otherwise you are opening yourself to a big flush moment, which we're starting to see. The reason for that was squeeze up can just as easily give back the other side. this was a trap squeeze up and they wash it all the way down, like I said, it would be very, very dirty, really, really dirty. Playing ranges is hard for this reason. You have to respect these areas that we talked about. This is where sellers were this morning. This was a failed breakdown of the previous day low. There's your pivot back up, and sellers right now are coming back in here and profit taking. So can we pivot here? Do we trap here and hold this level? If not, if we do something like this, we're going to reuse this liquidity. It's tough to trade, I'm telling you. There is a lack of momentum, so you have to be very, very strict and rigid with your entries. This is the area you want to see if buyers come back in here. This would be like a trap level if they trapped here. But those last few sells were pretty strong. All right, I would say they were pretty strong sells. So these candles here, big imbalance candles. Does it reject this to trade lower? Break of structure, use this, trade back down into this range and maybe low, or does it use this, reclaim it, and go again? I'd want the longs above here. Once I know that all the shorts, including overnight shorts, are well and truly trapped. Yeah, Matt, crazy day. I mean, the range isn't big, but this is what it does when it has a lack of liquidity. It searches for it, creates it, traps, and then does moves, you know. Again, relative weakness here on the ES. ES just came straight back into previous day low. Remember, that's where it's found buyers all day. VIX on a tear back upside now. And you've got a new hourly candle coming in 5 minutes. This hourly candle so far, pretty strong, isn't it? If you look at that wick on the hourly candle, pretty strong. So here we go. Here's the retracement back up. The question is now, is this genuine buying? Do they trap sellers at the highs? Or is it the opposite, right? Are we going to get a break of structure and some downside price action? What's hard is every downside move today has been, there's been nothing to play against, really nothing to get involved with, no pullback to really get involved with. And that's what's been the hardest thing about it. And that's probably encouraged shorts to come in at those lows with the breakout shorts underneath the previous day low. It's just straight up selling now. Really, really tricky. I want to get sells. I've wanted to have sells all day, but it's just there's a lack of entry patterns here. And now we're coming right back into where we found buyers. So I don't really want to be selling in here. This was the breakout, so this could be a retest. This could be a hold and go. I want to be selling up here underneath this structure. Maybe this was it, but that was very short-lived. So we're at that 400 level now as well, right? Key psychological number. ES right at its previous day low. New H1 coming in 3 minutes. Just remember that, new H1 in 3 minutes. Yes, holding that previous day low then, again. Here we go. Can we snap? Are we going to get any follow through today? Nope, apparently not. Oh my gosh. Trying not to get frustrated with this market. Lack of entries for me. Just probably take 5 minutes here because it's starting to annoy me, starting to get frustrated. I cannot get involved in this market. Every time I try, it won't go for me. So just going to take a minute here. I still like the shorts. I think we're going to get a rotation here, but it's not giving that pop to entry. VIX on a tear now, back up at that 1875 level we talked about, the opening stream and pre-market in the Discord room, that 1875. Break of 1886 opens the door for a rip on the VIX, okay? That rip can be all the way up to 19. That should increase sell pressure on the market. Bonds and treasuries are green, all right? They're green on the day, which is adding to inflationary pressure on this market. Yes, again, previous day low, tagged, held. All right, soaking off that so far. New H1 bar right now. This is new H1 bar. Yes, through previous day low now. Not at its lower day yet, all right? It's not at its IB low yet, but it's through the previous day low. Notice how the lower time frame algorithm held there. Lower time frame stayed in the cell. Lower time frame is below the higher time frame. It stayed in that cell. Question is, can we pop up, find sellers, sell back down, use this liquidity, something like this? That's what I'm favoring right now. I know we're coming into structure where buyers participated earlier, but I am favoring the sells on the day. I feel like the draw on liquidity can be much lower on the day. We can go and expand that weekly low. So going to wait for a creation of a bear flag or something here to get involved with. Something into the flow zones or even a little bit higher. Very tricky because we're midpoint in the IB, and I am aware of that. Coming into that old M15 level here, into 18s or 20s, you might as well call it that wick around here. So old M15 high. We have an M5 imbalance just above that, where we failed from. If it reprices that imbalance, it's going to do that trap move we talked about. It will be very dirty because it's come much deeper than a trap needed to come. Trap only needed to wick through 20. She dropped 40 points deeper. Looking to see if this starts to develop into that bear flag now. For a move back towards low of day would be ideal. My head's all right. I'm fine. I'm calm. I get frustrated and then I take a break, you know. I'm just managing my emotions, managing my ability to trade, keeping clarity in my head. It's important to be able to do that. The trade will come. I know the trade will come. I've had a couple of attempts, but I know it will come. It will provide opportunities for me. I just have to be patient. This is looking like the opportunity now. Beautiful. So I'm in short from here on this pullback, and I'm looking for a rotation towards low of day now. Watching ES. I really want ES to let go of that previous day low and get a good close underneath it on a 5 minute. It cannot do it. It keeps soaking off it. So I am cautious of that because I know that's a big piece of liquidity on the daily which has already been taken. It's looking good now. Everything we talked about starting to play out, all right? Came into the deep pullback, starting to play out. I want to see a break of structure here underneath 84. All right, that will basically be the same level as ES is at God, I can't get my words out. ES at its previous day low. So ES tapping on it. If ES fails this, it will rotate back towards the IB low. I want to see VIX get back over 1875 where it's printing right now. It needs to get over that, print through the IB high. What a day though, eh? Squeeze up, way more than bears anticipated just to give it all back. So break beneath 83 or 85, something like that now. take out all the buyers whose stops are here for a wash down into these levels. That's what we need to see. I had to be patient for it today. Definitely got frustrated. You would have seen it on stream. I got frustrated. I didn't lose my temper. I just gave myself a little time out for a bit and got back in the trade when it sets up. Cannot be forcing yourself on a market. As soon as you feel tilt, you would have seen it a little bit in me building today. I just timed myself out. So another minute 20 to go for a 5-minute close beneath the previous day low on ES, but it is beneath previous day low now. I need to see it close under 60, get a wick down under 60. It's where buyers keep stepping in over and over and over again. It is battlegrounds here because it's a higher time frame level. Remember, zoom out on the higher time frames. We are in a level of demand, but I'm expecting the market to want to sweep some of these. It's just going to have to build lots of liquidity to do it. If it doesn't do it, I'm not going to fight it. All right, I'll just take the trade off. Again, you can always enter back into a trade. You have to take it off when it's not doing what you want. It's looking good for me. For now, I'm pretty comfortable with this. All right, I've only got 2 on, small size. All right, just there so you can see it. 10 more seconds here for ES to close underneath these lows. Come on, ES. There we go. There's the expansion to 60. Get a close here. Looking better. Beautiful. So now I want to see it stay heavy underneath previous day low. I'm short from 14s, all right? 414 is where I got short. This holds, I'm going to trim one off. I really don't want to trim one off. I really want to hold. I feel like if we start getting underneath that IBL, we can have big expansion today. I feel like those weekly levels are being sat there to be taken, and that we can get possibly, if we start to expand, possibly down to here and below, which is what I'm looking for. So that would give me, you know, a 100-point trade. Here we go. Thank you. Finally, we're going to get moving today. Finally, a bit of follow through. So I don't want to see it. Protect the IB low. ES now through the IB low, trading back up to it. So it whipped through it. I've got to watch that for SMT. We know SMT's played out a couple times today. Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Needed this trade today. Jeez Louise, I needed this. I'm going to protect one into this previous day low if it would give me the move down into it. I'm going to take a partial off there. All right, I'm going to take a partial off there, holding the rest. Can always add back in, like I say. Can always add to a winner when it starts to prove itself. Can always add, but what I'm concerned about is it can reprice all the way up towards 08, which isn't far from my entry here, if ES has a failed auction of that IBL. So I'm respecting initial balance rules. You want to learn initial balance rules? You can do a video on here. Lovely from ES, starting to get heavy now. Come on, NQ, please, can you get following? The only Mag 7 that is green on the day is Microsoft. Everything else red on the day. Really heavy from ES. Probably should have been short on the weaker of the two here. Relative strength from the Qs. But looking good. We are looking good here. Did not hear that I entered short, Yaya. I made it clear what I was looking for. All right, I said I'm looking for a bear flag here. I'm looking for it to reject against this level. Go back in the stream. I said it all way ahead of time. I will always tell you my thesis on what I'm looking for. So into previous day low here, I want to see a snap here. So this was the trade I was looking for earlier in the day, which wouldn't come for me. All right, so had to stop out a few times when I was trying it and then try again. I want to see a snap. I really just want to see it let go of previous day low here. I've moved my stop a bit tighter because I'm not willing to give back 50 points on this trade. Stop at 73. If it starts to build up, I'm going to take it off. Lovely. Moving my stop down to 67 now. I want to see this just continue to flush lows. This was the move I wanted this morning. Finally coming. Beautiful expansion here. So running my stop a bit tighter now because we're coming into liquidity. I just want to see a snap, just straight snap and dive down. Like that. Thank you very much. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Moving this down, trailing aggressively now. I am trailing aggressively now. I'm going to lock in about 100 points on this trade. There we go. Job done. Thank you very much. It was tricky, wasn't it? What a fucker this market is at the moment to trade. But we got it. We got it, team. We got the bear flag. We traded down underneath IB low towards the 20-day, all right? I'm going to give myself a second here, and then I'm going to look for another trade. Because if we're going to get expansion on the weekly, all right? If we're going to get expansion on the weekly, we can really start washing. And this is what I was very aware of. All right, expansion on the weekly takes us below these levels. This is where I think we can come underneath this wick, this wick, this wick. This is what I'm looking for. This pool of liquidity to be traded into because buyers have been present all these days. Every single day, they've got paid for overnight sell-off, pump, overnight sell-off, pump, overnight sell-off, pump, overnight sell-off. They went for it today. I want them to be punished because then we've got 5 days of buyers about to get absolutely slapped in the face. And my main reason for this is looking at the treasuries. We talked about it on stream yesterday. The treasuries have broken out and gone green. That is going to increase inflationary pressure. It's going to make it impossible for Jerome Powell to cut. And look at the VIX traded straight up to 1920. Right, so everything we were looking for that I've talked about played out. Right, so even if you didn't take it, like just go back and watch the stream. Look at what I'm looking for. Look at how I act when I'm getting, you know, tilt and pissed off and all these things. I just back off. Right, rather than hammering, I just back right off and wait for it to develop. Once the market showed itself, I was really clear. I was not interested in a long up here. I was only going to long if we broke above and held this area, and then I can think about longs because then I know all the intraday shorts were stuck. Until that point, I was just going to be flexible in the trade, and once we got this clear move here, which could have been a trap, but it didn't hold this, it washed down, then I wanted to get short against these guys for a continuation. It's really simple. It's basically support and resistance. Everything that, oh, I'm on the wrong chart, aren't I? Everything that people tell you doesn't work, right? So to confirm, the longs for me would have to have been above here. Once we broke this level and we didn't trap and reclaim, I was thinking about a short and I asked for a bear flag. There's your bear flag, entry into here, continuation, easy targets. Now you have to think, if we reject IB low, we can have continuation. If we reclaim IB low, we're going to have return back towards VWAP, all right? Those are the plays for the rest of the day currently, right? But I'd be watching this right now. That is big volume, right? Big volume, where we took out everyone. If that's exhaustion down there, we might need to trade back upside first, because that is the biggest volume on the day other than the open, right? You see that? Big volume can be exhaustion. Huge sell, huge buy. So huge sell, 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 cover, 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 right? That's what's just happened. Yeah, got a bit animated there. Sorry, guys. Well, I was getting very, very frustrated with this market this morning because I'm going to be honest with you. I was pretty confident today that we were going to get that move down, and to not get it, to have it. I mean, I know what it needs to do. I talk about it all the time. Don't get stuck shorting lows, right? Once we took this liquidity, it held an imbalance here, flagged back in, and squeezed. This was a point here where I was like, if they really start reclaiming this, this is going to kind of ruin my trade thesis for the day, and I'm going to have to flip bias. And that's when I find it frustrating. I'm like, be flexible, be flexible. I'm telling myself in my head, be flexible above here for a long. But once it failed, it made the trade thesis come. What we've actually done, all right, for those in the room, think about what we've done. I'm going to show you right here. What did we talk about at like what would have been like 8 a.m. this morning. Cup, handle, expansion. All right. We talked about it at the beginning of the stream, and we talked about it in the room, that the two possibilities I was looking for today were this: cup, handle, expansion, or fake out, reclaim and go. All right, so we almost had the fake out, reclaim and go. It was close. If it broke above that range, it was close. So for now, we are rejecting that initial balance low. This is telling you that the market is most likely going to want to go into a trend day. All right, trend day lower is when we stay beneath this. So you can think about continuation trades all the time. We are beneath the IB low. You might want to let this catch up. You might want to let it come and reprice some of this and then get back below it. I'm going to have a break for a bit because I'm mentally exhausted from that last bit. Gonna go through chat now. Sorry guys, animated, I know. Wrong chart again, eh? Sorry. Mindful Matters, appreciate it. All right, thank you, mate. Yeah, hopefully you got some of that. Thank you, Ramus. Saradi, Matt R, Solid Trade, hope you got some of that. Snooker, Tyson, Shane, love the accent, yeah, London accent. Yeah, exactly, Alonso. You got to let the charts work. You have to let the charts work. The moment you fight against what's in front of you is the moment you get yourself stuck and in trouble. If you just do what it tells you, it gets much easier. Let's get through some of these. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Abe, yeah, we got that one. Nice one. The pattern off the IB low seems to want to go to VWAP at minimum. Yeah, so Alonso, typical patterns, all right, you can go and watch the video on YouTube if you don't want to do the course, but typical patterns are from initial balance low, we trade to VWAP. From initial balance high, we trade to VWAP. From VWAP, we trade to initial balance low. Really, you'd want VWAP midpoint, all right? So we trade like this, right, when we're in range. That's how we trade. Go IB high, VWAP, IB low, VWAP, and back and forth. Marek, that was some trade. Yeah, thank you very much. We got it. GB, what is the volume indicator, are you asking? TV indicator? Trade volume indicator, is that what you're asking? The volume indicator is volume by Sati. I really like his indicators. They're really good. So if you go Sati vol, volume stack, if that's what you're asking. If you're asking something else, just let me know. Chris Thorne, you got a bit of that. Good work. Wisdom Lover, you were preoccupied by listening to Patrick and Tanya argue, but got a piece. What are they arguing about? I thought those two were friends. Are they not friends anymore? Well, I stay out of all that drama. It's too much for me, man. Trading is hard enough. Trading on stream, trying to teach you guys while I go, is even harder. The last thing I want to do is get involved in stuff like that. Saradi, this, I hope I'm saying that right. Saradi, is it? This is my custom indicator. All right, everything on here is custom. You get it for free when you do the course and join the room. All right, so it's how I teach. It's what I use for my bias. So yeah, it's totally free once you join the room or do the course. So it's a 20-hour course. Everything's down below, right? The link's down below. 20-hour course, flowzonetrader.com. Use code YouTube. It will last to the end of the month. It will get you $100 off. One-time fee, $399. You get the course, 20 hours on demand. You get the indicators. There's two sets of indicators, and you get the Discord room. All for free, one-time fee. So the Discord room and the indicator come for free when you do the course. Some of you may have noticed in the corner of the screen now, I have TRADEIFY, all right? I am now recommending TRADEIFY for those of you who want a different platform or prop fund to work with. All right, I really like their rules. They're not being stringent. They're not changing the rules all the time. They have sales on consistently. The link's down below. You can go straight to funding. You can do an evaluation with trailing drawdown, or you can do an evaluation without trailing drawdown. Right, so I really, really like them. So far, we just rejected previous day low and into the flow zones here. So there is possibility for a continuation trade here. All right, there is still possibility. I know we went above IB low, but this is really like not a pinpoint level, but I would consider all the way up to here, all the time flow zones. One leg, two leg, if they start to fail this, 20-day and below. All right, 20-day and below is your target. It might want to rebalance all the way up here, but ideally we just stay heavy and we get continuation trades today. Oh, that's what I'd be looking for. Let's put those back on. Chris Thorne says the course is excellent and there's a lot there. Takes a while to work through. Yeah, it is a very in-depth course. I know there are a lot of courses on the internet which are like 2-3 hours long, full of crap, teaching you how not to trade probably. My course is very in-depth. It will take you from complete beginner to very, very advanced. There's a lot in there and you can revisit it as many times as you want. All right, I took a lot of time putting that course together with all my experience, and hopefully it's helped a lot of you. How many of you got a piece of that trade with me? How many of you are profitable on the day? Let me know in chat. Really interested to see how many of you got a bit of that short. Thank goodness I got it. I was getting very annoyed. Tyson got it. Mindful Matters. Matt got it. Alonso got all of it. I love it. Wisdom Lover, Abe, Jen, Array, Snooker. Love to see it. Love to see it. Aaron and Taylor, you've been using Thinkorswim. Not sure how it compares to the other platforms, but it seems intuitive. Thinkorswim's a very good platform. Very, very good. If you can execute on there even better. I really like Thinkorswim. Great platform. Can build lots of custom scripts on there as well. 60-hour trader got it. Saradi got 10 points of it. Hey, 10 points, still 10 points. Brian took 200 times. So you made $200 across 10 accounts. So you're up $2,000 on the day. Nice. Marek got $900 and out. Jeff, 12 points. Tim V, too shy, missed it. Don't worry, Tim. It will come. It will come. You're new in the room. You're doing the course. It will come. All right. Time on the charts. Clock in your 10,000 hours. You know, to be an expert in anything, you need 10,000 hours. It doesn't matter what you're doing. So just turn up every day. Keep learning. You will see the same patterns play over and over and over again. All right. So there was only two things that was going to happen. This was key. It was either going to use this liquidity. I wanted to see buyers come straight in here versus this level and soak back up. And then I'd know that shorts are well and truly in a hole, and then we trade upside. The moment it didn't do that and we continued to drip lower with big engulfing candles, this candle and this candle were key, showing me we have strong selling. Once we did that, like I said on here, I don't want to chase this short down here. I need to let it reprice. That's when I was starting to get frustrated. You could see it in my voice. The reason I was frustrated is because this same move happened this morning. Once we broke down here, I was waiting for a reprice and it never came. We just went straight down. I didn't want to see that. I always want to be taking a short once we've repriced higher, right? So remember how the market moves. There's your legs. Right, I want to be short here. I don't want to be short here because then I have to sit through drawdown. So once we got that reprice, we can risk versus this level here because we know these buyers, they're underwater, so they become sellers. Basic support and resistance, right? Really basic. Old support becomes resistance. Doesn't come all the way up into it. It doesn't need to. We reprice higher. Once this candle comes in, this big engulfing candle, I start attacking short here. And then you could have even waited for this, right? You could have waited for this little one here, added here, and there came the flush, all right? The key to that was watching the VIX and the ES. Once ES broke its previous day low, which I kept talking about over and over again, it became obvious that the market wanted to move lower. All right, so here we go then. Rejected previous day low now, coming into 20-day, all right, coming into 20 days. So if you're still holding any of this, I would consider a partial here into 20 day, and I'm going to give you some other levels you can think about taking. Next level, all right, H1 might reprice all the way down to 300, 302. If it wants to go and search the liquidity on that, it will trade down to 277. If it wants to get really heavy, it will trade between 225 to 200 flat. Underneath that, 196, 163. That's a long way down, right? I'm getting those by looking at the higher time frame charts. I'm looking at where the liquidity is. All right, so right here is where we found buyers on Thursday last week, right? This pullback and expansion. This is where we found buyers last week. I don't love shorts into these areas now. The best shorts for me have been and gone. Aaron, do I use options? Do I do options using flow zones? I don't trade options, Aaron. I've never traded options. I probably could, but I don't like things like time decay and the Greeks. So I would trade options. If I was going to trade them, I'd probably trade far out options in like swing positions rather than, you know, single day expiries and stuff. David Oxendale, you got it. It took you from being down big to flat. Oh, well, happy days. Now just don't, if I was you, trade your own thing, but now I would just take the day off. Yeah, because it's very tempting then to try and push and push and push to get green. Just take the day off. Mindful Matters, I heard your pisstivity. Do you mean positivity or pisstivity? I mean, I was pissed, so it could have been that. And let you know I'm appreciated. Truly, I've had so much of my time and money wasted. Yes, well, me too, buddy. And I think most people in the trading community will agree with that. There are a lot of scammers out there, a lot of courses which are terrible, people making lots of money. It's tough. It's tough out there. I originally learned from, I'll tell you what happened actually. I learned from a couple guys who are really good, and I got impatient and moved to someone who I thought was doing really well and picked up some really bad habits, and then had to change. Had to learn. Marek, I can tell my trading has changed since you started the course. You're 86% of the way through. Good work, my friend. Good work. Happy to hear it's helping you. We've got a little bit of bleed here. It looks like a sunny day in Los Angeles. It is beautiful. Without a doubt, I'm going to get some time by the pool today and relax. 20-day hit on the Qs, did it? Let's have a look. I mean, yeah, I mean, will have done. It's hit on this purple line here is the 20-day. So it should have hit on the ETF. Not yet. It's very close. 20-day on the ETF is down at 89. There or thereabouts. Let's have a look at the SPY. And 20-day on the SPY for that mean reversion is down at 76.50. Right, so that's the mean reversion type trade. Notice how we're gluing to this now a little bit. All right, this was the obvious trade for me, was down to the 20-day. All right, the reason for that, it can expand lower. Look, we can go and hunt now really, really deep if it wants. But the obvious trade is the mean reversion trade. We can go over that. I'm going to have to change these charts because for some reason it's lost my charts when I reset my computer. Let's have a look. It's lost this. Give me a second here, team, to sort this out. So yesterday I had a load of ghost orders. Some of those in the room will know. Turn up and I came to back to my computer down $6 grand. This is the second time it's happened in 2 weeks. Managed to get flat on the day, but I had to do a full reset, delete all my history, everything like that, and now I've lost some of my charts. Let's go. Give me a second. Sort this lower one out. So if anyone knows how to fix that, Coop helped me this morning in chat. Your heart rate's finally down, yeah. Let's put these Bollingers on the daily. Almost there, team. Sorry about this. All right, can you see this now? Here we go. Right, so make sure that's nice and clear. So with mean reversion trades, you will notice that the market does not like to trade beyond 2 standard deviations. So the top, this is on a daily chart, right? I'm not interested in this on any other chart than the daily chart. Every time we come to the top Bollinger, we trade back down to the 5-day, then the 20-day, and then we'll either bounce back up if we're bullish, or we'll trade back down in a trend towards the lower Bollinger until we fail the lower Bollinger and we trade back upside. So we have one big wick here, close inside, trade back upside. 20-day, top Bollinger, 20-day, lower Bollinger, 20-day, top Bollinger to 20-day, 20-day to top Bollinger, and then we got stuck here the last few days. Notice how tight, right, we are getting with the Bollinger Bands. Right? These are much tighter than here, for example. What this means is we are primed for a squeeze. It doesn't mean that needs to be an upside squeeze, but the market has built so much liquidity here and even here that at some point, if we break this, the Bollingers are going to expand violently. If we break this level and this level, the Bollingers might expand violently back down. All right, so we are trapping so much liquidity here across multiple time frames that we are probably going to expand at some point. But the probable trade became, once we failed up here, 20-day, failed again, 20-day. These are high probability trades. If we get the 5-day starting to cross beneath the 20-day, we can think about this mean reversion coming and attacking these liquidity pools down here, which would be the lower Bollinger, right? So they all tie in to everything. It just gives you confluence with what you're looking at. Hopefully that makes sense. Higher time frame really does matter. If you don't think 20 days matter, mean reversion, then why have we just bounced off it? There's no other level there. Camera blur. Okay, let me walk out. That's a good time for me to get a drink and come back. Give me a second. Is that any better? There we go. So do me a favor, please, 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 if you can drop me a like on this video. All right, let's help grow this channel. Share it on your socials. If you made money with this today, I would love it if you would share it on your socials. If you're on X or Instagram, share it with your socials so other people can join me moving forward. You can tag me on Instagram and on Twitter at FlowZoneTrader if you want to do that. I will reshare it. If you tag me on Twitter, I'll reshare it. Or X, whatever you want to call it. So far we are in trend day down, but again, the easy, obvious target was this 20-day. So now we have to think about where the lower prices are. Let's drag this down. Let me go and mark these out. So these are the next liquidity pools, right here and right here. If you're staying short for trend day down, that's what you should be thinking about. Again, easy move has gone. If we start to reprice over this, you can either think about the trap to go lower. If we start to base and the flow zones curl, especially if we put in a golfing to get there, you can think a rotation trade back to VWAP, which by that point will probably be around 400. So it'd also be a psychological level into there. Until then, you stay short. All right, you remain looking for shorts until we start getting above IB high and above that previous day low. These are the triggers where we might get a squeeze. So if it does something like this, then you get that inverse look to trade back into this range. But for now, pro short, right? Pro short. How? Where did I enter on the bear flag? Yes, I can show you right now. Really simple. Right here is where I looked for an entry. Soon as this sell came in, I added my position here, and I was willing to risk above this then. You could have also done a break, but I wanted it right here so I could get a tight risk. What I should have done, really and truly, was to add more size down here. But as soon as I saw buyers start to get stuck, this is, remember, the deep pullback, the purple cloud here, deep pullback, so I expect that to hold for me. And I expected it to fail against this region here. All right, so I was willing to take a small shot here there. You would have seen it was small size. If it stopped me out and wanted to trade back up there, that was fine. I'd just stop out and I'd have another crack at it up there. If it got through that area, I'd start to think about the longs. So I had to be flexible because this is your first bounce, right? This is your first bounce. These are always normally high probability once we fail, unless we reclaim, because you normally get a second leg. So leg one, leg two. Same as here. Leg one, leg two. This becomes less probable. Leg three. Leg one, leg two, probable moves. No worries, Hal. So just be cautionary here as it builds out potential liquidity. I'm not telling you to get long here. It would need to break above and give you a reason and then pull back in and hold. But I'm just pointing out where the liquidity is. You should remain short against these levels if you have a bias where you think it can take this out, and this out. This still gives you potential good risk reward. You've got 15-20 minutes until we get into lunch. And I tell you what, those sellers are back on the tape again. Those same sellers from earlier have stacked. So this is definitely one player. All right, so he's stacked now, 100 lots, 350, 355, 360, 365, 100 lots on each of those. That's the same seller who was up here earlier. All right, the only reason the market did this move was because he stacked 500 lots in here. So the market went, yeah, I'll have those. Thanks very much. He's now, what did I say? 350 and up. So he is here. He's selling here all the way up to 65. Up to here. So he has stacked 500 lots. So he was selling here, probably covered some. He's probably looking for a continuation short down to here. Right, and you can see that on the book map if you're using it. If you've got enough room on your level 2, if you just scroll up on your level 2, go and check out 350 to 365. You will see him on the tape. How do I know it's the same seller? Because it's exactly the same size lots, stacked exactly the same way. And he covered exactly the same way as well, by the way. So he covered in 100 lots at 25, at 12, and at 05s. He's making it very obvious his hand for a reason. He's not trying to hide himself, and he's been filled. He hasn't spoofed once. So he's putting less on the tape this time. He's putting 1, 2, 3, 4. So 400 lots as opposed to 500. And there is a 100 lot bid at 300 flat right now. Or it's actually 140 lot. Yeah, so when they put the same size in, it starts to get, and they stack it the same way, it starts to get obvious that it's one player. If it's spread out and in chunks and spoofing and moving around, it's not as obvious. But he's literally walking it down the same way. It's identical move to earlier. If you've got Bookmap, go and look at the tape from earlier and look at it now. It's exactly the same. So what are we trading back upside off? Mean reversion. 20 days. Well, I don't like shorts at the 20-day. If, right, higher time frame, this will change. This would take days to set up. If the 5-day, this blue line trades down here and then we get stuck beneath this, that's a whole different ball game, right? That's into a sell pattern for a mean reversion from the 20-day to the lower Bollinger Band. But see how the buyers came in here. Right, so these are the key levels we're now looking at. This liquidity, you've got to imagine, lots of people shorted this. All right, I probably would have shorted this down to here if I hadn't had a big winner. But if they chased it here, they're now stuck. There's your engulfing candle telling you they are stuck, and now we're looking to reprice. So like I said, you have to be very careful. This liquidity, take this out, rebalance, trade back up to VWAP, this level here where we failed from. Probable trade. Otherwise, if they're just going to steal this, all right, they'll just get straight above this, take this liquidity, and then they trade back down. Those are the two options. Always two options. You might get sick of me saying there's always two options. It will either do this or this, but that's how the market works. The market never works with a unilateral play where it's like, it will only do this. That's not true. There are always two options in the market at all times. And the more you can remember that, the better you're going to be at trading because you will remain flexible. You've got to know when your thesis is wrong. Saradi P, you want to see the market like I do? Yeah, do the course if you want. Everything in here that I'm talking about today in way more detail is in the course. All right, so if you go to flowzonetrader.com, you click through, it will take you to the Teachable website. It will actually show you every single module and lesson so you can see how detailed that course is. It will show you, I think it even shows you the length of each lesson. All right, so it's no joke. It is no joke, that course. All right, it takes some time to put into it, but it will make you a better trader. Yeah, there you go, Wisdom Lover. So you see it. It's the same stacking. He's stacking the same way. And where have we just traded into? Exactly where they are. So we've just taken out the first pool. So the next pool is just above. Remember what I said? It will drift into areas. Lots of people like to see liquidity as like, oh, it's going to come up to there and reject. That's not how I see it, right? When they stack sells up and we're low and they're big sells, the way I see it is that's a magnet. The market will want to go and fill those guys, and then maybe afterwards, if structure is correct, it will go lower. Same when you've got big bids down below. The market wants to fill those bids, right? The market's basically a liquidity whore. That's the best way to think of it. It wants to search for liquidity. The only thing it cares about is liquidity. Wherever that liquidity is, it's going to go and take it. Right? That's its job. That's the market's job. Our job is to understand where that liquidity is and get a piece of the move between the two liquidity levels. We're not big players. We are tiny little fish, right? That just want to get behind the whale, get behind his big tail, follow him for a few points, make our money, and get out. Right? Let them do all the big moves, make all the big decisions. If a whale wants to sell hard and you're the wrong side of it, there's nothing you can do. Thank you, Snooker Pro. Snooker Pro said he did the course and it's brilliant. I really appreciate that. Kind feedback. I might actually get a load of you who have done the course recently to send me some feedback so I can update the website and socials. So again, everything we talked about starting to play out, isn't it? We don't short down here. There's the head. There's clear liquidity. There's the engulfing candle telling you buyers have come in, shorts are trapped, and the obvious trade was back up to this level. Now we don't know. Does it wick this level, take the liquidity? Has it already got enough liquidity and it's going to trade back down to this gap and maybe below? We don't know yet. It's giving it time to play out. But what we do know is one of those players, or one big lot of those players, was taken out. Now he's trying to sell on the ask at 350 and he's walking that down. So that was originally at 365. So you can see him on Bookmap walking his orders down because he wants to get filled. This, for me, this is a short looking to get filled. He's like, I want to get in before a rotation lower. I don't really believe that this is a buyer trying to get out. This seems like a genuine seller looking to sell big positions to get short for a rotation lower. So right now he's at 350, all right? 100 lot left at 350. So he did sell a lot into 40s and 50s originally. He's restacked that book at 350s. 120 orders just sat there right now. And then the algorithm, the liquidity providing algorithm, is stacked each side of that. All right, so it's at 35 and 57, basically 20-point spread. That's just the CME or whoever's providing liquidity to the market. That's its algorithm just flashing there, providing it. All right, so let's see if this drags up to 350 and fills him. Looks like it's going to 49s, 49.25. There you go. So he now got filled, 100 lot filled straight there, so straight through him. So look, it tags straight to 52, and there's no genuine buying coming behind it yet. All right, so like we said, they act like magnets. When they're big players like that, they're effectively magnets. That's what made it hard in that initial move earlier. This move here, I would have liked to have seen this roll over. Like, I was basically looking for this to be the handle, even though it was near the lows. And it got to here, and then he went, oh, I'm just going to add loads of size up here and drag the market up, rather than attacking it here. That's what I found frustrating. The market had no reason to go up there other than the liquidity that he put on the book, or she put on the book, or it put on the book. It's probably just an algorithm, to be honest. It's probably not even a singular person. Wisdom lover, you're not a whale with 5 micros. No. Unfortunately not, because as we know, this whale today was running 500 lots on the NQ. I can't even fathom how much money that is in terms of risk. You would probably need billions, hundreds of millions to put that much on. Someone can go and work it out for me. Go and work out what 500 lots, how much margin you would require overnight for 500 lots. I cannot even imagine. So right now it's trying to do that inverse head and shoulder. So again, if you've been here today, you're just, at least you're learning. This is where it wants to head to, all right? Previous day low, deep pullback, and this liquidity line here. If it can start to trade upside through initial balance, it will want to hunt this. This is where we broke down from, this level here. VWAP will come into here, around 400, it will want to try and price upside. So if it does something like this, it can price upside. rebalancing its book, basically. That big move down that we had, that we all caught on the stream, is looking to rebalance that higher. You can always look at this on a higher time frame, even an M5. See this big imbalance, it's trading back up to the imbalance, and we can look to see if it fails up here, if it continues to trade upside. Same for H1. H1, like I said, it's taken all the liquidity I'm interested in, which is why I'm not interested in shorts near the lows. Look, 1 pull, 2 pull, 3 pull, traded right in to this level. What did we say? 300 to rebalance the H1. This level right here, 300.25. What was the low of the day? We were pretty close, weren't we? 300.03 or something. 303. So we were very close on where we thought we would trade into. Again, we talked about this about 20 minutes ago on stream. This is where we found buyers on Thursday. So it's repricing back to where you find buyers on Thursday. If I was a swing trader, I'd be thinking about maybe looking at longs here. Right? If I was a swing trader, I would have missed all of this noise above. If my bias was bullish, I'm not chasing the market here. I'm waiting for it to reprice, because this, very simply, is a breakout, a load of noise, and a retest. If it holds this, we expect higher. If it fails this, we expect lower. And there we go, got failed at that same level. So what did we do? Didn't even need to get through that level, that liquidity. It failed straight into it. All right, so failed against the deep pullback flow zone and the previous day low. So same area. Never got above, so no longs. Like we talked about, I'd be long above here. And right now, let's see if it reholds this imbalance. I need to go into low time frame for you. All right, so never got above. Long trigger for me is above here. I know this is the pattern, but in terms of structure, it would need to get above there. If the whale sold at 350, how can the market go up? Well, it only went up by a few ticks because it trapped longs in. All right, that whale's looking for lower prices. Trust me, he's walked the market down. He sold here this morning. Remember, he sold here 500 lots. He covered like 100 here. He just put 400 more on here, and he's looking for lower prices. If they hold this, you'll probably see it squeeze, and he'll get forced to cover out. The long, like I said, the long for me is above here. This is the high that made this low. This is noise. This is it repricing, but this is the swing point. There's no long for me until we get above this. For me, for how I trade, I would need price above this and it to hold something like that, and flow zones to support. Then I think about the long. Because for me, it's very clear. What kind of trend are we in? We are in a downtrend. This is all the market's doing. For now, we respect this, right? Does it go lower? Even though we know this liquidity is here, if it gets above this, then we're thinking about longs for a reprice up. Like we talked about, if it gets stuck, reprice lower. I don't want to short low of day. I don't want to short right down here into 20-day. You can see this candle here, big volume here, right? There was a big exchange into this level right here. So it might be the same thing. You might get the same kind of move now if it wants to do it. You have to be cautious because you are starting to taper. You've gone from here to here to here. You're in a sideways, more of a sideways channel now. Right, you're in a sideways channel. This is basically a range. You would expect continuation. All the time it stays beneath this. It can even pop it and come back inside like a spring, right? Like a Wyckoff spring, but for a downside, it can do that. Build liquidity, run some stops, buyers get trapped, smash. It can do that if it wants. That's why I said to wait. You wait for the longs until it gets very clearly above and base is above. Remember, you can look at the higher time frame, even just an M5. There's clear liquidity here at 59. I really expect it just to run that out, even if it wants to turn down, because you've got a double top there. So you know stops. You know everyone who's short has their stops at 59. There you go, Matt. So Matt's done the maths. He thinks that was an 8.6 million in margin for that short. So yeah, basically in a horizontal channel right now until it shows its hand otherwise. The best move's gone, trust me, the best move on the day has gone. We got it. That was the best move on the day. Maybe in the afternoon session, we either get a recovery move up or a continuation down, but the best move has gone because you've got 1 minute, 20 seconds until lunch. Right, we got that best move today, which is good because there's been a few days on stream recently where I haven't got it, or it's come as soon as I got off stream. Like yesterday, what did we say on stream yesterday? As soon as I get off, it's going to do the move that we're looking for and talking about, and it bloody well did it, like within 5-10 minutes of me getting off stream. Maybe it's a sign that I need to stream for half an hour longer each day. Trading Wizard, what do you mean, Matt? Matt has done the math on having a 500 contract short, and he's saying that's basically an $8.6 million short. Ramesh, you've never heard of anyone mentioning Wyckoff Spring before. You only know it from quantitative view, quant view for a while. You know, Wyckoff's a very famous trader. You can read his books, but his most famous theory is the spring theory, which is basically a failed breakout of a range. Right, so his theory is basically this. Let's say we trade down and we create a range like this. Right, this is the range, and the spring is this. All right, it's a failed breakdown and then a recovery, and then we trade upside. Right, well, you could flip that around the other way. Even for a continuation, you go into a range. That's the range. That's the spring, failed breakout, back into range, downside, continuation. Right, so it's basically a trap. The spring is effectively the trap. It's where it hunts liquidity, creates the trap. So right now we just popped that high. I think that we talked about, yes, we did. All right, so there's the double top, which I said expect to get run into around 59. Traded through it into the deep pullback. So now is the question is basically, is this the spring, is what I'm asking. Is this a failed breakout and we're just going to trade downside because it just wanted to claim that liquidity? Remember, it will need to stay above here for a clear and obvious long pattern back up. Otherwise, this can be a very nice trap. So I would ignore that buy signal because I know on every other time frame we're in a sell still. So let's just see how this plays out. So you need 17,200 per contract, and then you need to times that by 500 contracts. Yeah. Wow. And is that's intraday margin? No, 17,200, or is that overnight on the Qs? So there you go. Look at this now. Repricing. So stole the liquidity we just talked about. Flat top, stole it. Repricing. There's your imbalance. If it fails this and does this, it will search this internal low, then the 20-day and the low of day. Needs a close beneath this. So those of you who are doing things like ICT type stuff, that would be your inversion. If it can get a close below, you can think about a risk there. There you go. Overnight, okay, so 17,200 times 500,000 equates to you said it's 8.6 million, right? Juan, so you took a buy. Well, I guess you took a buy around here. Not bad for a scalp back up, I guess. Counter trend. There we go. So sellers coming back in then. So it's fairly easy sort of tape reading today once we got into the sell. This morning was frustrating, but once we got into it, it was all right. Yeah, nice one. Good taking it off. I mean, the counter trend trade there made sense off the 20-day back up. Look how strong the sell is though once we stole the liquidity. Just like earlier, stole the liquidity, big sell. Still the liquidity, big sell. All right, so even there we could have entered at very low risk and been up about 50 points now already. All right, so if you took this, you would need to cover partial here, and then you'd be thinking about continuation lower. What a trade that would have been if we just took what we were talking about. Yeah, it feels like it wants to sell off today, I agree. Good one. Well, I'm glad you closed it because this is a heavy market right now. Rejecting previous day low. Expanding the weekly. Wow. All right, so that inversion at 41 has already paid you 40 points. And like I said, there is a whale selling today. You can see him on the tape. 500 contracts on the NQ is no joke. I'm telling you, that is big. Most of the time you see 30 to 50 traded. Yeah, exactly. Imagine that guy with the big trade. He's probably up like 200-300 points right now. Let's work it out actually. So he was in here. So his average was probably about 40 with 500 points with 500 contracts. He covered in towards 26. So let's just call it 120 points. He took 100 off or 200 off and he added 300 back on here. So now his average is probably around 390, 400. He's probably covering into this move. You think we top for some time? Yeah, originally that's what I thought. Originally my thesis was that the QQQ would do the gap fill, that it left from that big Nvidia breakdown, and then we'd roll over, but it's tough, you know. Until the bonds started breaking out recently, I was unsure if that would come true, but now bonds are breaking out. I think it makes it hard for a cut. If they can't cut, I think the market might be in trouble. Well, we'll see how Tesla earnings go today. They might give us a little hint. And obviously we've got Mag 7 coming up, election coming up, war news, so many variables. You know, normally when we look at seasonality, there's not quite so very many variables as we have right now. So like I said, when you get that break of structure, you've got to be taking some profit off. All right, every time you get a break of structure, significant break of structure, you expect the market to give a pullback leg at some point. All right, here's break of structure, pulls back. Here's break of structure, expect a pullback. Then you'd be looking for continuation, break of structure, pullback, rinse, repeat. Stay zoomed out, all right? Know your strong high, strong low. So getting stuck at that 20-day right now. QQQ is coming into its 20-day, okay, the ETF. ES has a way to go to its 20-day. It would have to trade down to 832. The ES would need to trade down to 576.50 for the ES. But we are in a strong sell. Do not be guessing bottoms today, all right? Do not be guessing bottoms. We're in a strong sell. Doesn't mean you want to sell the lows like we talked about. That sell up here for that wick high of that double top was very nice. You could have traded straight back down, or like I said, you could have traded the inversion right here. That's a big move. Even off that, 42, so you'd need to risk 20 points and you'd be up almost 50 points right now. So good 2 and a bit R already, and you'd be holding runners. I'm probably going to walk away soon. All right, probably going to go to the gym and do some good things for me. Quite tired, like I said. Didn't have a good day yesterday. Ended up break even, but I've had ghost order issues on Ninja, which I need to fix. I think it's something to do with my trade copier. When I move a stop break even and it leaves some in, and then later in the day it fills it as an order which isn't actually on the chart. So at one point yesterday, when I came back to my screen from a walk, I was down $6,000, which was not fun. And slowly but surely worked my way back to a break-even day. So pretty tired after that yesterday. It took me time to work back, just trading small lots until I made it all back. No worries. So any questions from anyone before I walk away? I know lots of you absolutely smashed it today. But any questions? Can I leave you with any information before I go? VIX trading at 19s. It's pushing for that higher day breakout. Looks like you're all good. So do me a favor, everyone in chat, if you haven't, please just hit that like button. Drop me a subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow. And 10 o'clock tomorrow. For those who have done the course and in the room, I'll be back later in the afternoon. All right, let's let lunch get out of the way. Let's see what the afternoon session presents. If we get some follow through, or if I feel like we've searched enough and we want to trade back upside, I'll let you know in the room. We'll go from there. Yaya 1985. I'm here every day, 10 o'clock market time. All right, you're just before. Normally I'm on stream like 5 to 10 market time. All right, every single day, Monday to Friday. All right, thank you everyone. Appreciate you all, everyone, all the regulars, all the new people turning up. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be back same time tomorrow. You know the score by now, right? Don't short the low of day. Use hard stops. Be aware of any news that might hit the wire. Protect yourself. Take your profits. Let runners win. Keep going. You know the same old shit that I say every day to you. All right. Just be sensible. Don't be forcing yourself on the market. I'll be back tomorrow for some more bangers. Let's get another 100, 150 point trade tomorrow. Until then, peace out.